to do with the leadership problems that we face today. And I think if you look at the indecisiveness in Japan, in Germany, in Britain, I think we do face a problem of leadership. This is a man who really has pioneered leadership studies in the post-war period in the United States. His name is Warren Bennis, B-E-N-N-I-S. And he wrote a book in early 2000s called Geeks and Geezers. Geeks and Geezers. And in that book he suggested that what makes a leader is the suffering that you have endured. It's a phrase he calls neoteny, which I hadn't heard of before, N-E-O-T-E-N-Y. And that's about whether you've been subjected to racial abuse or sexual abuse or these kinds of things, and whether you've recovered from it. And I mention it when we're thinking about energy and what to do about energy, because I think it, as a theory, from the leader of the leadership studies, it very much sums up what is thought about the human subject today, which is that how you make your way in life reflects on what happened to you, not what you make happen. And in my judgment, you know, leadership is what you make happen, and the bigger things that you make happen, the more you're qualified to call yourself a leader. But this view of the human subject, ladies and gentlemen, as sort of vulnerable, subject to nasty things that have happened in the past, that's what makes a leader, is a very diminished conception of what we're able to achieve, I think, as human beings. It's not my theory, it's his theory. Here's a real leader. Anybody know who he is? From way, way back. Ah, you're in the chair, David, you mustn't... yeah, it's Thomas Edison. He said that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. If you have a look at his knees there, you can see what he meant about perspiration. And he was not only a leader, but I think he comes from an era when technology, which David's already mentioned, was seen as a human achievement, as something that wasn't just impersonal or that dominated our lives, but that we made happen. And I think the inspiration-perspiration point that he makes is very relevant to our environmentalist friends today. Obviously, as a male ex-physicist, I've got no love of the environment. I hate polar bears. I hate looking at the rings of Saturn. I'm completely impervious to emotions, and any of those things don't interest me whatsoever. But nevertheless, I think when we look at environmentalist policies about your lifestyles, the general emphasis is that you should be perspiring more. You should be running around your house, turning everything off, metering everything, changing your driving style. The European Union, Brussels Commission has said that. And in every way, playing your full part in feeling guilty about the climate change that human beings have created. I believe in climate change. I believe human beings have had a lot to do with it. And that's not the issue so much to discuss today. The real question is what we do about it. Are the sum total of many individual actions taken in parallel by well-meaning individuals the way to solve the carbon dioxide emissions that we have today, the other greenhouse gas emissions, and more importantly, in many ways, more urgently, the problem of power cuts that is going to come to Britain in the next 3 to 5 or 7 years. Power cuts that already exist in places like Pakistan, South Africa, India, and all of that. Come on in. But are we going to have enough energy in the developed world, leave aside the undeveloped world, the less developed world, to keep the lights on and to make things happen? And my perspective is that we need a lot more inspiration, a lot more technological innovation, a lot more research and development in energy and beyond to make the lights stay on, to develop society, to irrigate Africa, very important, and to make sure that we aren't all guilt-tripping each other, where we're in a contest at every dinner party to see who is more devout about how they got there. Did you drive a car? No, I took a train. Ah, yeah, but carbon dioxide emissions. Was the train coal-fire powered? You know, was the power station that gave us the electricity that allowed you to ride the train Was it coal-fired powered or was it powered by wind? Oh, well, no, but I offset my journey with some rubber yucca trees in Latin America. Or so. Oh, yeah, but were they ethically sourced, those yucca trees? Were some other trees cut down? I just want to stop those conversations. I think the perspective of the book, which I tried to pick up for you in Piccadilly today, but it wasn't there, so you don't have to spend £10. You just go to Amazon and spend £10. Don't make any money from it. The book Energise, which David has, which is full of gags as well as statistics, and lots of history of thought, not just the history of energy, but the history of thought about consumption and so on. My perspective is that the more thoughtless we are, the more thoughtful we are about energy supply, the more thoughtless we can be about energy use. So my perspective is to stop us talking about energy because it all runs on rails. It's just part of the furniture. A bit like IT is becoming in some ways. Now, for the women in the audience, that's 2 of you, I think. Who's this? Or for the fashionista men, anybody know? Sorry? Chanel. No, it's not as good as Chanel.
It's the back of someone's glass.
Nice try. Now there's a big clue. Come on, ladies and men.
I can't see anything.
You can't see anything, that's true. Maybe we could put another blind down. The definition isn't terrific. There we go. If you can bear it, can you play with it? This is a very important woman, wearing a very important dress.
Is that Susie Kwan?
Susie Kwan.
I thought it was a miniskirt, basically.
No. It is, in fact, Michelle Obama and the Mrs. Biden in that lime green confection. I don't agree with Obama. He's not left-wing enough for me. If left-wing meant anything nowadays, which it doesn't really. But there's something that he said to Newsweek, which is his profanity, not mine, where he was asked what his family was doing about global warming, or what he would say if he was asked about global warming, and he replied, the truth is, we can't solve global warming because I fucking changed light bulbs in my house. It's because of something collective. Now what he means by that is that individual action is not sufficient to solve the problems that we've got. What he means by collective action is not what I mean. He means that every home in the United States should be weatherized, which is, or as Gordon Brown's update of Tony Blair's program, insulation. Right? Felt is the way forward for Britain. And I don't agree with that, nor do I agree that we all need a more efficient personal driving style. And I don't think everybody is going to take the same action, even in the majority, let alone 100% of households are going to follow green lifestyle imperatives. What I mean by collective action, which I'll conclude on later, is organising society so that people who know about energy can deliver more, better, cheaper, high quality, low carbon energy for everybody around the planet. That relies on collective wealth being focused on that area rather than collective moralism being summed up on an individual level. Those of you who are familiar with Jeremy Bentham will know that adding things up, sum total of human happiness and so on, is very much a long-standing tradition in British philosophy. It's not the one that I want to espouse this afternoon. Here's the book. As I say, if you go to Amazon, you'll find it at the head of a list of books called Energise Your Sex Life. I'm afraid it's got nothing to do with that, but that's where to find it.
If you look for Energise.
Yeah, if you look for Energise.
Now,
the question of leadership is very interesting because if you go to Greenpeace, you will find that they are urging Ed Miliband to make Britain a global leader on climate change. And that's very flattering to us Brits, you know, that we can lead the world in, you know, doing the right thing by the planet. I think it's very hubristic and very arrogant and very stupid to imagine that Britain, which really wouldn't know technology if it hit it in the face, you only have to ride the underground system to know that, can set a moral example, demonstrate probity to the Chinese, to the Indians,